I'm Clifford Today's show. I'm Clifford Today, and you're not. And this guy is not. This guy, you don't know this guy. This is a new guy. This is Steven. What's up, Steven?
What's up, everyone? How are you doing today, Clifford?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah.
My usual co-hosts, Nick and Josh, were not able to make it on this episode because they've got other lives, I guess. You know, they don't have enough time to talk about weird Christian music news stuff. But Steven, I owed him a favor, and this isn't just out of obligation. Like, I wanted to have him on the show, but I did owe him a favor because he actually helped me out quite recently, and I'm going to embarrass him for a second and just brag on him for a second. So a little while ago, the band May did a re-release of their, I guess, quintessential album. A lot of people think, I definitely think, their album, The Everglow. And now I've talked about that album on the show. We actually had a whole episode quite recently just kind of running through the whole album and talking about it. So you guys should know the love that I have for that album, but I've never been able to own it on vinyl, mostly because like it's a very on-demand album that a lot of people want, including me. And any albums that are for sale, they usually go for like so much money. But the thing is every time that they did a re-release, I always missed it because I was like broke or something. And then they did this recent re-release, and I'm just like, I'm kind of broke again. Like if I got, it's just one of those situations where I just couldn't afford it literally that week. And I expressed my frustrations about it, and Steven was like, hey man, I'm gonna help you out because I'm a cool guy. I'll get it for you as long as you pay me back. And I'm just like, oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much. And so I actually have it right here in the flesh. And it's got a cool variation on the records. I can't really pull them out just right now. But yeah, I told Steven, like, hey, man, I really owe you. Just let me know anything you need. And he's just like, well, let me show up on your podcast sometime. and so I was like, yeah, you got it. And so this was I pulled my doing a favor card. I asked him to be on because I didn't really want to talk about these things by myself on this episode. So very happy to have you on, Steven, and thank you for being a cool guy.
Thanks, man. It's a really joy to be here, and it's even more of a joy. Like, I mean, I've said it to you. I guess we could say it to your audience, but like, dude, it's a really special thing being part of this kind of weird conglomeration of just this CCM Twitter community that we have. And huge shout out to Eric for creating that March Madness event that
Oh
really
yeah,
just really brought a lot of us together and brought me into a whole section of Twitter that made Twitter enjoyable again for me. And it's
yeah,
been cool because I've just met a lot of great people, including yourself. And like to me, it's like, you throwing out a Hail Mary that you're saying that you want this record. I'm not going to let you miss. And so like I just think that's one thing that we can do, not just being guys who love Jesus, but like dudes who just love good
mm,
music and things like that, like mean a lot. Like I could look at my vinyl shelf and just a couple records that like a couple friends got me that I like find more special just because of the memory that's attached to it. And so I'm
oh
grateful that I
yeah,
could have done that, dude. So all good, bro.
yeah,
So
absolutely. And that's just to so that everyone knows the context. For those of you who aren't like online that much or aren't even on like X, formerly known as Twitter or whatever, there's basically a whole community of us that have kind of gotten together, mostly because of Eric McClanahan. I
I can't
forget.
ever. If
I
I
think it's
did, I would have to
McClanahan.
start. I think I would have to talking Irish, and I didn't know if I could do
Yeah,
it.
Alec McClanahan
And
of CCM
McClanahan
Twitter fame.
with a film.
Yeah, basically through a lot of his efforts and his, his content, he's brought a lot of us together. And so there's been a lot of us who've just become, as much as we've complained before about like the evils of social media on here, but there is a lot of good that comes out of social media, and that's definitely I think is found in the CCM Twitter community. And you especially, Stephen, I think we find a lot of common ground, and not just like in the music that we like, but in a lot of our beliefs.
Mm,
And I think that was one of the big reasons why I was interested to have you on the
yeah.
show. Because we kind of have a lot of similar thoughts and kind of fall in the same place in terms of a lot of issues, and so
Yeah.
that's why, talking about the subjects of today, I think we could have a good conversation about
Yeah.
what we're doing. So, but before we get into that, let's. I want the audience to know more about you. So I don't know, give us kind of a short rundown, and also, I think we'd love to hear like is specifically like what kind of music that you like what kind of bands and artists that you listen to. But yeah, give us the short little bio plus your musical interests.
A short story long on my life. All right. Well, I don't want to steal the Declaration of Independence like Nicolas Cage, but I do. Okay, so I'm Steven, like I was told. Wow, you could probably edit this part out. My bad.
No, you're good.
uh, uh, so I'm Steven. I'm from Carlsbad, California. I live in North County, San Diego. I'm about 45 miles north of San Diego proper. I've been living here since 2018. I swore I'd never move back to California, and God has a funny sense of humor. And I met my wife at a seminary school in New Orleans. And
Mm.
2 days before I met her, actually, I had a faceless wife dream. And I met my wife 2 days after. It's a
Oh
fun
wow.
fact about my life. We dated 10 months, and she basically said, let's just get married. And so, like a good not Baptist, I enjoyed a great margarita, and I said yes to her. And we bought our rings on Etsy, and we've been married 9 years now. And so, it's been
Awesome.
a great adventure. I love my wife, Melanie. I'm a dog dad. I have a little pit bull named Winnie. That's actually her gotcha days today. So we've had her for 2 years. She's a
Awesome.
little menace and a fur missile. Um, I do love writing. I've been working on a couple westerns. I just finished a coming of age
That's right.
novel
Yeah.
called Margot. I'm pretty sure I just want to put that out in the world and not really edit it or kind of keep it just as raw as it is. It was a fun little project I did. And then I currently just graduated from therapy. I found out a couple years ago I had ADHD, and it was a huge rock in my life because I had zero idea, and I felt like God has been playing me on hard mode most of my life. And when I
Mm.
found out I had ADHD, it was a really eye opening and almost kind of grieving experience of that. I had signs that I knew something was different about me, but I could never put a finger on it. And I went into therapy for anxiety and depression. And I found
Mm-hmm.
out it was ADHD that I was battling. I had no idea. And once being diagnosed and meeting with a psychiatrist and getting on proper medication, I feel like I can enjoy music in a whole new level. I feel like I could do life a lot better. I mean, I feel like
Mm.
I could be present in conversations with you, like 100% here and not anywhere else.
Right.
I feel like I could get chores done and not drop the ball in marriage in certain ways, or even do better at my job. There's just so many things, and so there's been a lot of joy in that discovery. And I'm also a veteran of the United States Air Force, and so I served from 2009 to 2013. Pretty proud of that too. So I don't know if you want me to keep going, but that's a good run.
Yeah,
So
I'd say so. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we could dedicate a whole episode to unpacking a lot of that, but no, that's yeah, that's good. I mean, well, not all good, but
uh,
you've been working through a lot of that, and that's awesome. I mean, if anything, it's been great to see your positivity and your heart, like in all activity that I see in your feed. So
For sure.
you know, so you've been a huge encouragement for me for sure, and I'm sure that
Um,
comes a lot from what you've been through in your life. So, um, but you mentioned music and being
oh
able
yeah, you meant
to uh, yeah. So what are I mean, we talked a little bit about May and Thrice and soundtracks before we started recording, but yeah, what's basically the kind of the big things that you like to listen to?
yeah. My favorite band of all time fluctuates between one and two all the time, but right now my favorite band of all time is Brand New. I love Brand New. Brand New will
Okay,
always, yeah, be between one and two. Two is Manchester Orchestra. I love Manchester
I
Orchestra.
love
Three,
Manchester.
oh, dude, yeah, man. Andy Hole can sing me to sleep, and I'd be so happy, man. If I heard the silence and him just like whispering to me, the silence, I probably wouldn't be creeped out. I would just be so happy.
Just be like, oh,
Um,
thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy, and give him a kiss on the cheek because I probably wanted to do that too. I love Jimmy Eat World. I love the Gaslight
Hmm.
Anthem, and probably five is probably right now is Wolves at the Gate, which is steadily climbing into like one of my favorite bands of all time, which is like really great because I used to have a big beef with them, but it was mainly because this is all these guys used to listen to when I was in the Air Force, and then they all got the same tattoo together, and it's really lame that they didn't invite me, and so I had like a big old like stink against them for no
Ah,
reason at all, and they didn't just invite me,
that is
and
lame.
it was pretty lame, but it's cool. And but Types and Shadows is probably my favorite album from Wolves of the Gate. But yeah, I would say that's my top five. I mean, I could go in top 10 too, but I'll probably leave it right there.
I think yeah, five's pretty good. I mean, so there are a couple bands in there that I've always been aware of, but just for no, I don't know, for some reason, just never really dived into. Um, I've tried a few weeks ago. I like attempted to start at a Discog run through Jimmy Eat World, and I started with their first album, and it's pretty decent. A couple songs in there that actually where I was like, oh, they do this song.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
it
okay,
surprised you for sure.
yeah. And so I know a lot of people love Jimmy Eat World, so I'm gonna try again for sure. I'm sure that you probably went crazy when Manchester Orchestra and Jimmy Eat World did that
Joint,
collab, basically.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that joint tour too. That was the first time I actually saw Jimmy Eat World, which is like I feel a little bit shameful because like I've been listening to him since like 2000, which makes me feel hella old right now. But like, I just like it's weird listening to a band for so long and then finally seeing them live, but then them playing your favorite songs and it feels timeless then, and it's like such a weird
oh, sure.
conundrum. Yeah, and if you
No,
listen to an
yeah.
album, listen to Futures. That album is perfect. Like that's another one of my ones that we were kind of like talking before of like favorite albums of all time. Futures by Jimmy Eat World will be in my top five for sure. Like
Okay.
three or two. It's so good.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Futures. I'll put that on my list for sure. Same for Brand New. Brand New's also a band that I've always been aware of, but um, could never really name a song by them. Even though they're always in my circles. Like everyone that I'm friends with, they people know about Brand New, and I don't know why. So I definitely what album from them would you
Oh,
suggest to start with?
I mean, that's The Devil and God is Raging Inside of Me for sure. I mean, but like, dude, like
That's
this is the
the
thing.
famous one. I know the cover of that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just feel like one
So,
thing that's like weird about some bands, like Brand New, or you talk about like Thrice or Manchester Orchestra. I feel like it's kind of like I hate using the word culty, but like it's like kind of like that. Like you can't just like those bands. Like you can and maybe
yeah.
like sidely enjoy it, but like I feel like bands like Brand New or Manchester Orchestra or Thrice, you love those bands. Like there's a deep something happens. I don't know if it's listening to it too much or if a song like hits the right switch or whatever that is, but like you love that band. Like I like May a lot. I love that Everglow
Hmm.
album. Like that's one of my favorite albums. But like I wouldn't say I
Yeah.
love May. But like when I talk about brand new, I
Yeah.
don't like brand new. I love brand new. Like brand new, like I will listen to like every album of theirs, even like their, you know, really bravado pop punk album from their first one, Your Favorite Weapon. But like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, Daisy on a Bad Day is so good. And it just, oh, dude, and science fiction, like I love that album. And that's like not very popular, but like I just will, oh man, yeah, I can't talk enough about Brand New. Brand New is just the best band of all time, dude. So
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I am totally right there with you when like especially what you said about May. The Everglow is one of my all-time favorite albums, but I can't say that I love any of their other albums. Like I like them, but they don't hit the same way that the Everglow does for some reason.
sure.
But like it can be totally different. Like Manchester Orchestra, I'm right there with you. I I used to just be like, oh yeah, I like Manchester Orchestra, but for some reason, like my relationship with them just like grew and grew, and it's just like, yeah, I just love it all now. They're like
Yeah,
an all
they're
time
so
band for
good.
me right now. Yeah,
So good. What's your favorite
it's
record from them?
my favorite is Black Mile to the Surface. It was that album where I finally was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
I love them. Yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, because I know it was like a turning point in their discography. Like up until then, it was kind of more straightforward indie rock,
mm,
but they just did something else with that album, and
yeah,
that's definitely a top 5 or a top 10 album for me for sure.
same, same, same.
Um, yeah. So,
So good choice.
um, yeah. What about you? What's your favorite from them?
I mean, that's my favorite for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I posted actually on Twitter because I saw my friend John post something about his favorite from Indian Lakes records that nobody asked for, and I love when people like say, "Hey, nobody asked for this, but I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you my favorites of these things because I'm a favorites person. Like, if I want to know you, like, I want to
Sure.
say, tell me your favorite thing. Tell me your favorite movie. Tell me your favorite band. Like,
Yeah.
and give me more just one. Like you can't just say I just love hip hop. And it's like, no, give me your favorite hip
Right.
hop artist, bro. Like
Give me
I
top
don't need that.
50.
Give me I love the top 50s. I mean, I will sit and listen if I had my Adderall. I'd be even more listening, but probably listening with my headphones on. But
Maybe on a
I
different day. Yeah.
yeah, just maybe. But I said my top what's it called favorite Manchester Orchestra albums, and I would say Black Miles to the Surface. I love their first album actually, Like a Virgin Losing a Child. My third one would
Mm-hmm.
actually be gosh, am I blanking on how I rated these right now? Dude, I'm gonna have to look at Twitter. I'm just gonna leave it at those two. Those are my top two favorite records. I feel like those are my
Okay.
favorite ones. But I know I got in trouble with John because I said that Simple Math and Cope were lower than they should be, in his opinion. And
Oh, okay.
I feel like I do love those records, but I just feel like I don't know. Oh yeah, probably I have probably Hope third, Means Everything Means Nothing, or I get that mixed up with a Thrice album title.
Mean mean nothing and oh gosh, you confused me now.
Yeah, dude, it sounds
Mean
exactly like the
everything to
Thrice.
nothing.
Yeah, sounds like that Thrice title.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And
Yeah.
then I mean I love Hope.
I Hope is good. Yeah, I also Cope is also probably my least favorite album from them. Not to say that it's bad, but in fact, I can't remember. I was talking to someone on Twitter about this recently. Cope is my least favorite, but Hope brought like a lot more life into
Mm,
the album.
mm,
Um, and don't I mean there are songs that I love from Cope, but I
sure.
actually ended up making my own playlist of tracks from my I basically made a mixture of Cope tracks and Hope tracks to make a whole
Nice.
complete album. Because one of my problems with Cope is that it's so like kind of like one line,
Hmm.
where it doesn't there's not a whole lot of variation, and
Right.
so I just kind of mixed it up the best way that I liked.
Yeah, and I
So
feel like
yeah, any
even
Manchester. I was just gonna say, any Manchester fans out there, you can look for my Cope/Hope playlist out there.
Nice. Are we gonna call it mope or something like that? And it's gonna be perfect. I don't know.
I thought about calling it Chope,
Chope, chope it.
which I don't
Yeah,
know if, yeah, I don't, well, no, Chope,
nice.
Chope,
Chope.
which is
Got it.
not a, as far as I know, is not a real word. I hope it's not like a bad word or anything, but
No, that'd be
you never
my bad. No, and I think that's
know.
what's weird is like that when they did the B sides of that album, After the Scripture should have absolutely been on that album. And I feel like it would have like just changed the tone, just a little bit of that, Cope record.
You
But
know, I
it's very
haven't
much
listened to
not.
the B-sides in forever.
Oh, that's a great song too.
Yeah, I have to go back to those for sure.
I think the thing
To
that I
the
loved about
B-sides.
Hope when you're talking about that too, breathing new life, there was like so many cool different little lyric changes that I feel like Andy did that just made some just like really interesting changes of the song. Like, like the what's that one that he does where talking about like the man who walks through the wall and then the price tag on your toe. Like just like some like really
Mm,
just I think it's indentions or the intentions, one of the last songs on it. And it just see you again. I think that's one of them that he does too. That just like the lyrics change just a little bit. And I feel like it just makes it such a I don't know, just such a it's so good. He's just such a good writer.
sure.
Like I just like makes me
Oh,
sick
he
because
is.
I wish I was like I could write in his capacity. He's just like has such a cool way of like seeing things and saying things.
Same. Yeah, Manchester has definitely influenced a lot of the music I've been making within the last couple of years. It's almost kind of, it's like, man, I got to try to stop trying to sound like Manchester Orchestra. I got to be I got to be true to
But I mean,
myself.
this is what
But
blows me away about CCM Twitter. Like, what the heck? You're a musician too. Like, I literally, like, I feel like I'm surrounded by you guys, like you and Chase and
yeah,
John, and like, like, dude, Sower, dude. Who else is like a musician? Freaking Fepeste.
oh,
Like, you guys are like in
Exile and Eden.
Exile and Eden, dude. Like, huge shout outs to all you guys because you guys are super mad
Yeah.
talented. I hope everybody buys your music because you guys are amazing. But like, dude, I'm here to like, the suffering emo writer, dude. Like I love that like you could gas you guys up, but that's amazing, dude. I didn't know you wrote music
Well,
too,
see, I
dude.
mean, well, even you're a writer. You may not be musical, but you're creative,
Yeah.
and that's the thing
Okay.
is that like us who are more, I feel like us who are more creative might be just a little bit more passionate about music and such, and so that's
Sure.
why we're a lot more vocal about it, and so
Sure.
yeah, I feel like it's kind of the, the, I feel like that's kind of a meme is that like, oh, music critic that makes his own music. Whoa, well, what a surprise, you know? But it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, if you're inspired by music and you just also happen to have musical talent, then you're going to try your hand at it. Like even Anthony Fantano plays bass. He may not make his own music, but he plays the bass. So um but yeah, so um, I forgot what we were talking about, but maybe it's time to segue, anyways. But great to know more about you, Steven. I'm sure we're gonna know even more about you as we talk about these topics. Um, so so yeah, here we go. Thanks for joining the ride. So today we're gonna be talking. Um, there's been a lot. I have to say, there's been a lot of CCM news just within the past couple months. Which I remember, like it was like a couple years ago. I decided to do this thing where I took a month off of social media, and then I was gonna come back and then do an episode about like all the news that I missed. And I thought that there was gonna be a bunch of like Christian music related news, but there really wasn't anything. I feel like the past couple months has been just one of those things where it's like I really have to try hard to try to keep up with things that are going on. And it all kind of just happens to revolve around Forrest Frank for some reason. Which we've already even talked about Forrest Frank, and like he had a whole reaction to Charlie Kirk's death, along with a bunch of other CCM artists. But he's being a lot more vocal today. And but main thing we're going to talk about is this whole conversation about the Super Bowl halftime show, and then we're going to talk about Forrest Frank and the Double Wards and all the stuff revolving around that. So there's a little bit of connection there. But yeah, so Steven, are you a big football guy?
Uh, I'm pausing right that a little bit. I enjoy watching football. I do fantasy football with my boys at church. I am a very
Okay.
passive football fan until baseball season's done. So, also, if you ever decide to see my Twitter and you decide that I'm interesting enough to look at my tweets, or I'm a suffering Oakland A's fan. Rest in peace, Oakland. But what's it called? I grew up a huge 49er fan. I moved to California in 1990. My cousins were
Mm-hmm.
my first friends, and they were big Niner fans. And obviously, growing up in 1990, you get the tail end of Joe Montana's career. You still get Jerry Rice, almost maybe a little bit past his prime. And I got to see, remembering my first Super Bowl in 1995 when the Niners won the Super Bowl. And so I would say I was like a huge Niner fan as a kid. I hated the Cowboys, traded a Troy Aikman rookie card away because I hated the Cowboys, and now I'm like, what are you doing, you idiot? um, I would say my love for football has kind of diminished over the years, not because football is interesting to me, I guess. It's just more, I mean, getting beat by the Chiefs twice in a row in the Super Bowl kind of sucked hardcore, and I hate Patrick Mahomes with all my heart, but that's just because I just want somebody else to win. And then it's also just my whole psyche of just I hate seeing really good players do so well, and then I'm realizing you're missing out on greatness, which is my conundrum himself. But
Right.
I am a Niners fan. I have a
Gotcha.
Niners jersey of Steve Young because that's my name too, and it's a 1990s throwback jersey, and I do enjoy watching the Niners when they're on TV. But I'm a very passive football fan until the Series is over, and then I'll watch football now because I like baseball so much more. But I hope that answers your question in
Gotcha.
a decent sort of way.
Oh, no, yeah. Absolutely. Here's the thing, and here's what's going to differentiate between you and me. I didn't really understand anything of what you just said
Solid,
because
solid.
so here's the thing is that like I'm it's not even really just because like I'm a music guy cuz you're obviously a music guy and you like football, but I've never really been a sports guy, and
Mm,
kind of two main reasons I believe are the cause of that is that one, growing up, my family, we did not have TV.
mm,
We had a TV, and we had like a VHS player in the old days, and watched videos, and then we got a DVD player eventually, but we never had like cable TV, so I had very few opportunities to watch sports, and so I just never really grew with an interest to really watch it. Like whenever it's on, like I might be interested in more of a kind of visual sense, or maybe like almost like I'm watching a movie. It's like, oh, it's kind of interesting to see these two teams go against each other. But
sure,
ultimately, it's like I've got no real stake in the game. I've never really had a loyalty to any team, and plus I've never been athletic myself. I've always kind of hated playing sports because I'm just not. I've never really been in any kind of peak physical condition to do that, and so I've never really had a personal interest in that. Not a very big sports guy.
sure,
I usually have no idea what's going on in the football world until, like many others, the Super Bowl comes around,
sure,
and so like and I like going to a Super Bowl party as much as the next guy. And usually the halftime show is something maybe I'm not looking forward to. I don't know, but I'm always like it's a cultural moment, the halftime show.
sure,
I can't say that they've really ever had an artist that I've ever cared about in a long time. Maybe honestly the last one that I ever really cared about was the last time that they had Coldplay, which yes, I'll admit I'm a Coldplay fan, but I
oh
think it was like Coldplay, Bruno Mars, and Beyonce all together, or or,
no,
or maybe it was Rihanna. I forget. It was some
no,
female
Rihanna had
singer. It was
her
like a
own
few years
show.
ago.
Hold on. I don't, dude. I'd have to
So
look that up
I'm
honestly, because like I'm with you. Sometimes these shows like really bore me.
they
My
kind of
favorite
blend
last
together.
halftime show, like you could probably have to look it up. I don't know what year it was, but Tom Petty was my favorite last halftime show before Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, I don't.
Wow, I can't talk. Kendrick Lamar, which was a couple years ago, and that freaking
Right.
absolutely ruled. I don't even know if that was that last year. No, Rihanna was last year, and Kendrick Lamar was the year before. No,
Was
Kendrick
Rihanna
Lamar was
last
last
year?
year. No, 2 years ago. So Kendrick Lamar was last year because he was that one when he
Yeah.
used that Drake song that he just freaking ripped on.
See,
Freaking Drake.
I didn't even catch the last Super Bowl. That was one that I missed, and I've actually never really been a huge Kendrick Lamar guy, so I wasn't
Hmm.
really too, it was like, whatever, fine. I mean, I get a lot of people love him, but yeah, so like that's kind of my relationship with the Super Bowl and the halftime show. And as a lot of people know, very recently, Bad Bunny was announced as the halftime show headliner. I don't even know what you
Yeah,
would call it,
sure.
but he's doing the halftime show. He's doing the Super Bowl, and it's got a lot of people all of a sudden are kind of, um, they're having strong reactions about it, and which, granted, I think a lot of Christians have been complaining about the halftime show for a while now, because usually with the halftime show, you see a lot of, things that just represent the secular music world in general. You see, a bit of, just maybe things that I don't know if I would let my kid, sit and watch. If I had a kid, I don't. But if I had one, I don't know if
Yeah.
I would. I don't think I would let them, stick around for the halftime show. So, I think it's understandable that a lot of people are just kind of up in arms, and it also kind of adds to the fact that, especially why a lot of conservatives are upset about this, is the fact that Bad Bunny has kind of, more recently, just kind of been kind of given some, let's just say, anti-American rhetoric, anti-conservative, whatever, just things that have made the conservative side of things just a little upset with him. And it's probably also the fact that he doesn't speak any English, as far as I know. Um, I mean, that's whatever, but I personally, like, I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan. It's not my kind of music. And earlier today, I tried to put on one of his music videos, and I had to stop it midway through, because like there's just like, no, it's not even just the music, but just like a bunch of like ladies twerking, and it's just like I shouldn't be watching this. So I can't say that I'm super excited about being in the halftime show. Not that it really matters what I think, especially as being a non football fan. But because of this, of all this news, um, there have been calls to action, specifically from the conservative and Christian side of things. And the first thing that I saw, that I think was like the first big thing, was Corey Asbury uh, posted a video on Instagram, basically, um, he was kind of just thinking out loud and saying, like, what if we put together an alternative, Christian, family friendly halftime show, which these days, it's kind of like, what, we can do that. It's like people have the technology to be able to do that. So like, why not? And so he was kind of just saying, like, what if we got like, the biggest and best Christian artists together and just put together our own halftime show for people to tune into.
All right, y'all, I just had an insane idea. What if we did an alternative, family friendly halftime show for the Super Bowl? Every year, everyone is all up in arms about the performer for the halftime show. And I get it, because 9 times out of 10, it's raunchy as heck. You're seeing stuff you don't want to see. You're hearing stuff you don't want to hear, especially for your kids. So what if we threw together an alternate show at a different venue with just the biggest Christian artist and glorified the name of Jesus on a gigantic scale at a gigantic level. I've already talked to my boy Forrest. He is down to clown. He's down to play music is what I mean. Who else would you want to see there? My vision is this: blow it up huge. Let's get a stadium. Let's go crazy. While people are glorifying money and fame and sex and all kinds of stuff that we don't want to see, we can lift up the name of Jesus. So if you're down, like this post, share it with your friends, and suggest who you think should join for this show.
And Forrest Frank kind of did his own reaction, basically agreeing with that. And then you've got the Turning Point USA announcing that they're actually doing their own halftime show. Like they're calling, I forget what they're calling it. It's like the All American Halftime Show or something like that. So that's not necessarily, we don't know if that's going to be like strictly Christian, but it's at least going to be, like more conservative than you would typically see in a halftime show. So yeah, we've got all that going on. A lot of people just kind of debating about the whole thing. And I guess, Steven, I'm just curious, like me. Well, no, I will go with your thoughts first. Do you think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to have, some sort of like Christian conservative halftime show, or do you think it's really a big deal?
I mean, man, this is where it gets kind of dicey because I feel like very nuanced to a lot of when, like, one of the things that I've said in the past, and I still believe, is that, like, why do Christians like to dismiss art? Because when you do, or
Mm-hmm.
dismissing other Christians' art, like we've lost an opportunity for the gospel, and we're not the ones putting down the paintbrush while we're like creating things and making things the best it could be. And I really believe that being a Christian, we have the ability to have a gift to create the best things that you see. Like if you see Michelangelo's David in Florence, I cried when I saw it. And it's one of the most
Oh,
beautiful
sure.
things I've ever saw in my life. Like it stopped me dead in my tracks and I had tears in my eyes. Uh
Mm.
Another time is when I saw what's it called? The one, if you ever watched Monuments Men, the portrait, gosh, why am I can't remember the Ghent altarpiece where the Nazis stole, and these American GIs find this famous painting, and I was able to see that in Ghent recently, and it was another painting that just stopped
Mm.
me dead in my tracks. And so I think
I
it's
think I
very
know what you're talking
interesting.
about.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's one panel that's still missing because it got burned in fire or something like that, but we were able to recover it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Going back to, I think it's really special. I want to be really clear. I think it's really special what Forrest Frank's doing right now. I feel like it's very fascinating to me that contemporary Christian music is maybe on a comeback. I don't know how much it is because I don't really listen to like local radio stations anymore. I don't like listening to local radio because I don't like commercials. I don't like listening to the same 60
Yeah.
songs over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
But
tell me about it.
I do love, contrary to my, emo self that will spend plenty of times in the dwellers of like, bottom dwellers of like listening to emo music and listening to music that kind of makes me sad or feel things. I am happy to see
Mm-hmm.
Christian music doing something. I love Corey Asbury. I think he's an exceptional artist. I love his country sound. I wish he was
Mm-hmm.
on Yellowstone, which I found out fun fact about because Yellowstone's a great show for the most part. Maybe after season three, kind of died a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
along
that'd be
with
interesting.
Kevin Costner. But yeah, he was supposed to be one of the characters in the show, and he didn't end up doing
Oh
it.
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was supposed to be Casey Dutton, and then he decided not to. I don't know if he was for
Interesting.
sure like
Wow.
the final casting choice between him and uh, gosh, I don't know the other the guy's name is, but he makes his own music too. But But I mean, I love
Hmm.
Corey Asbury's music. I love how personal it is. I don't have kids either. I have a teenage pit bull that's like an absolute menace, and she's the sweetest dog ever.
Sure,
But
that counts.
yeah. But I love his honest songs, and so I love hearing Christian music putting out some more honest music. I feel like I kind of got stuck in a rut when I was in junior high and high school. I have these bands like Sonic Flood where it's just like, dude, I'm singing to Jesus as my girlfriend. Like
Oh
this is
yeah.
like I can't handle it. And then I started hearing
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
recently, like Forrest Frank or NF doing some really good hip hop, where I'm like, oh wow, like this is kind of cool, And Corey Asbury was great. And then
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like David Crowder's continually puts out some pretty good stuff that I can still put on and be okay with or happy with, Or trying to think of
Hmm.
other artists that I love. Citizens, they're Marcel Hill defunct, done their own thing for years, and I feel like they've continually put
Yeah.
out some amazing stuff. King's Kaleidoscope too.
One
I
of the
mean,
few Mars Hill artists that have come out of that whole situation and still like solid Christians.
solid, yeah, dude. I don't even want to go on that rabbit trail of the disappointment I have with a
That's a whole
particular
other
artist.
episode.
That would be a whole other episode of me ranting for sure. I feel like I'd be worse than the old man shaking his hand at the clouds. Like that would be it. That
Uh,
actually would be a
Same
really
here.
good
That's basically
discussion,
my whole
dude.
channel.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I have actually thought of that
let me know when you want to do that. Well, actually, that'll be a good discussion then. Um,
for sure.
but King's Kaleidoscope, like I mentioned, Ghost Ship. There was another band I found out this year. I'm trying to remember the name. Mud something. I think we talked about it too on Twitter.
Puddle of
Gosh,
mud.
no, I mean that'd be great. I would love a good worship new metal band. That'd be great. Oh my gosh, can you imagine some of those
That'd be
psalms and new
crazy.
metal things? Like, is it? I can't even sing, so I'm not even gonna say like something defeat my enemies in a new metal voice. Scare your listeners off.
It probably sounds something similar to POD or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kind of in
probably.
that vein.
But POD stopped being good after Satellite, so I'm not gonna talk about that. But that's a
Pretty much, that's
sh-
like their
sh-
one good album. Well, at
yeah,
least the one that I know.
yeah, Satellite and what's it called? And their album beforehand. But to get back on track, I would
Yeah.
say I like seeing that. So with doing alternative halftime show, I think it's a great idea in the sense of like I love the idea of glorifying Jesus. I feel like it's important to have a space where Christians need to be more involved in corporate worship, myself included. I have a hard time most of the time in corporate worship, and it's because
Hmm.
I want to be honest before the Lord. And so a lot of times I might be that guy that has his hands in his pockets and having a hard time singing, but I'm standing now.
Hmm.
I wear my hat to church now because I wasn't too allowed to when I was a kid, but I still want to
Mm.
honor Jesus. And
Right.
there's times I put my hands in the air, or there's times maybe it looks like touchdown Jesus, or maybe I'm like, rocking a baby. I don't know, but like I want to be honest before the Lord in worship. And I think it would be very
Sure.
fantastic to see an alternative way to bring the church together in a large capacity, because I feel like there's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing of being able to see the church come together as one, because we don't see it. We see
Yeah.
churches on our streets. We see churches that don't shake hands with each other. They don't do potlucks together. They don't do, they're not going to invite their local pastor to come over and be a guest speaker because God forbid he likes dancing and we don't believe in dancing in our church, because
Yeah.
there's still churches like that in my hometown in the Central Valley, like, or
Sure.
maybe this
Yeah.
pastor, does communion wine and God forbid it's grape juice only because, we're Baptists, or I don't know, dude. Like I feel like I can kind of make fun of this stuff a little bit because this is what I've seen in my
Sure. Yeah.
experience in the church. But
Oh
like
yeah. It's
the
very real.
but the thing that kills me is like I do love the idea, and this is going to be where I get nuance. I do love the idea of diversity showing up in the Super Bowl. I do love seeing, Kendrick Lamar showing up in the Super Bowl. I do love seeing, we
Hmm.
have the whole group of, Compton and that whole LA Super Bowl that they did with, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and
Sure. Yeah.
Eminem.
That
And
was
like,
fun.
that's so cool, And then, but like, I feel like sometimes when we get into this idea of diversity, we need to include true diversity, and would that be a
Right.
Christian
Not
artist showing
forced
up on stage?
diversity.
Yeah, not forced diversity. And would that be a Christian artist for the Super Bowl? Like, why not? why not why
Sure.
not throw a Forrest Frank in there? I mean, I don't know numbers. I don't know how much squillions that he's, doing right now, but like I know kids at my work know who Forrest Frank is because they're, you know, enjoying TikTok and they've recognized that name. And it's like, you know more about
Mhm.
him than I do, like, and I feel like, why not? Like that's a cool opportunity and it represents our country as a whole. And I feel like that's one thing that kind of like brings the Super Bowl together is that like you said, like I love going to Super Bowl parties because one, I get freaking buffalo wings finally because my wife is vegan. So I'm gonna freaking smash the heck out of those things.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, but I love hanging with my boys, and maybe kicking back a beer or two because like it's just good times, dude. And like, but
Yeah,
I
it's
I
an
don't
American
like,
pastime.
yeah, and I feel like that's special. I have a hard time though of just like this like we're gonna do something just so American and it's not Puerto Rico because like Puerto Rico's America, like even though it
Right.
might be a territory, like I don't like this like stigma of like maybe if it's a territory, it's not a state, but like that's not doesn't mean that he shouldn't be in the halftime show. Like I don't like those kind
Right.
of arguments.
Yeah, I think for what I've seen, I think people would be a little bit, a little bit less visceral about their, um, um, I don't know about hatred, but their just distaste for Bad Bunny being an artist. If it wasn't for the fact that Bad Bunny has been vocal about, his very,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like kind of
Well,
anti-Trump, anti-American, whatever kind of rhetoric. I think
sure,
people wouldn't be as up in arms about it if it wasn't for that. um
sure,
I do know a lot of conservatives that they're like, oh yeah, Puerto Rico is part of America, and I know a lot of
sure.
conservatives that are like, yeah, we should like celebrate the fact that America is a country of diversity and different cultures. I mean, of course, we can have a conversation about what the core values of an American should be, but yeah, there are plenty of conservatives who I don't think would have had as big of a beef about it if it wasn't for that fact,
Yeah, that and that's what kind of like reminds me. I do remember while you're like saying that. It's like I remember reading that he said he didn't want to tour in the United States because of certain decisions
Yeah,
and policies that the president was enacting, and then he says yes to the Super Bowl. And I feel like that's kind of tough. Like I get the idea. I mean, I'm sure he's going to make a mill for being able to be in the Super Bowl, and he's going to make a lot of more of a mill, like with merch or
sure.
being able to sell more records or maybe get more notice on the map. And maybe he says, yeah, I love America and I'm going to tour all around it because people actually love me. And it's like, maybe that's great for him, but like, I just feel like sometimes these artists, and I just think they say these things about, our presidents or maybe our current administration because everybody loves to hate our current administration. Like it's cool. Is that I think you just get in these agenda modes. Like it's parrot talk. It's not just like genuine Bad Bunny saying things. And I feel like this could go back to like Forrest Frank, saying that he doesn't want to accept Dove awards, and we can go to this more in the future too. But like I feel like that's
Sure.
him genuinely sharing from his heart. If Bad Bunny
Yeah.
really genuinely just didn't feel safe around touring because in the United States because of certain decisions and policies that are making, then don't, bro. Like, don't protect yourself,
Right,
protect
just
your
don't do it.
family. Don't do it. But I feel like it's a very nice, great talking point when you don't want to talk about things that are happening. And also, like, and I saw a viral video of him saying that he wasn't standing during the national anthem and it was actually for God Bless America. And like, I feel like, dude, that's also hard, man. I get kind of nuanced in that whole decision of like if you should stand for the national anthem or sit. Like, I mean, being a veteran, man, like that's your choice, dude. Like, I served in the military for you to have the
Mhm.
freedom of speech and the freedom of decision to do whatever you want. And it's not just me, dude. Like, I went to Normandy last December and walked among the rows of all those crosses of those people who just died on June
Mhm.
6th, and like that was overwhelming in itself. Like there was
Sure.
I gave 4 years to this country and you could do what you want, like Colin Kaepernick doesn't bug me at all, and so like if he wants to sit for God Bless America, it's like God makes him upset. You want to talk about girls and talk about scandalous things, I guess, do whatever you want to do. But, like that's where I get kind of I guess more nuance and stuff. But I feel like there's just so much faux outrage, and there's not really recognizing art. And I don't know. Reggaeton might be
Hmm.
art. Like I've never really connected with it. Maybe it needs to be a music thing that I need to listen to more. But like, I mean, I had a guy in my last Starbucks that absolutely loved that music. But then I was like, dude, isn't this kind of explicit? And he's like, oh yeah, but nobody understands it. I'm like, that's still explicit music. You can't play this, bro. Like,
That's
you know, and then so that makes
yeah.
me a little bit nervous that you're even if you can't hear it, maybe that's not the greatest idea. I don't know, dude. Like,
Yeah, see, that's the thing is that I when I put on one of Bad Bunny's songs, I put on like auto translate, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of typical for a lot of hip hop, but definite. I mean, again, I wouldn't let my okay. So I can't use my kids because I don't have kids, but I do have nieces and nephews. I would not let them. I would not play Bad Bunny because, like, I don't. Even though they probably can't understand it, I think sometimes he might like go into English for like one or two words, but I wouldn't want, especially since one of my nieces actually is learning Spanish. I wouldn't
mm,
want her to be like, "Oh, I wonder what he's saying," and then like look into the words, and it's just like, no, this is like totally
yeah,
inappropriate. And for me, that's kind of the biggest thing. That's a bigger deal to me than like all the politics about it. Is like, you have the halftime show, which should be a family event, like halftime parties and everything. Like, you should be able to bring your kids, and they should be able to watch what's going on. Like, you shouldn't have to like shoo your kids out of the room or like turn the TV off whenever the halftime show comes on. And I think that's one of the biggest problems about the halftime show. Not even just the halftime show, but just like the world in general. Hollywood, the music industry. It's all like it's so degenerate and just like spotlighting all this like very sinful behavior.
mm,
And I think a lot of people they're just fed up with it,
sure.
including Corey Asbury and Forrest Frank. And so for me, and I'm also like, I think I see it as as a net positive to want to have, like, if we could have a Christian halftime show. We're probably not going to have like an actual like Christian artist in the actual halftime show, at least not for a while, and unless people keep
I don't think
pushing
if
for it.
ever. I don't think if ever, honestly, and I think that's the
Probably
disappointment.
not.
Because Christ is offensive, and you start singing about
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like, I mean, not to interrupt
No,
your
you're
spiel,
good.
but like, I feel like that's just like the same thing with the Passion of the Christ with Mel Gibson. This is a perfect
Hmm.
example to me that you have a guy that is wanting to create art, and art is
Hmm.
beautiful. And sometimes there's a little liberties that are taken in that movie that were tough. But I mean, the thing is that
Yeah.
Hollywood hated that movie because he was honest when it came down to the real testament of that story. And the
Hmm.
thing is like, I feel like you put on a Christian music concert, non-Christians are going to hate it. And it's going to just be the thing,
Yeah.
but like I feel like if a good artist like Forrest Frank, like there might be a little bit more of a win. Who knows? I don't know, dude. Like I would hope, like, because I mean, like the dude's talented. Maybe NF. I don't know. I would like to see that, honestly. But like, it's just like I feel like it's tough too with a lot of these artists or these non-Christian artists, because it is like what you said. It's degenerate. It's rough. Like I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music growing up. Like I lived in that home where
Same.
I
Yeah.
God forbid that I would listen to anything to the radio, and then I had to sneak in at night and start listening to Corn and Limp Bizkit and like Linkin Park, and I had
Well,
to
now
be
you
like
can
really
listen to
quiet
Corn
about.
now.
Yeah, and then I hate it mostly, but like like, and I realized that it was probably a good idea that my parents didn't let me listen to music, but then I love Creed with all my heart, which is like super dumb, but real talk, like I just feel like I I just think that there is so much degeneracy and just sadness, and like when you're not seeing talent anymore. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that Rihanna is not talented. She's a talented artist, but like where's her last record, dude? Like she's sitting on her squillions of dollars just enjoying life, and
Right.
I would love to see her put out a new record. But that's the thing that I love
Hmm.
about Kendrick Lamar, he puts out a pretty controversial album, Mr. Morale and the Showstoppers or whatever that album's called, and doesn't do anything about it. And then he comes out his last album, dude, and like beefing with Drake, and then does an actual album, and it's so dang good, dude. Like, but like, where are our Christians that are stepping up to continue to put out excellence, or instead we're putting these boxy albums? Maybe it has got 11 songs on
Right.
there that are simple, and it's like, dude, we're missing the opportunity for the gospel, dude. Like, we're missing an opportunity for
Yeah.
like God to be glorified. So I don't know if that's
Yeah,
hurting.
that's the thing is that we've you know, I've talked about it on this channel plenty of times about, you know, my problems with modern day Christian music, especially in the mainstream. You know, there is just a loss of, you know, a value of art and creativity. A lot of the actual good Christian artists that are making great art aren't getting the attention that they deserve. And that's why I'm two minds about this whole concept of a Christian halftime show. Is that one, it's probably, I mean, like, I like Forrest Frank, and I think some of the songs that I've, not all of his music, but I'm into some of it. But like a lot of the other more mainstream artists and such, it's not really my thing. It's not really what I would consider high art, and maybe, and I know that can be subjective, but
Sure,
that's just kind of the nature of it. And so, like, if they put together a Christian halftime show, it's probably going to be a lot of those kinds of artists. But on the other end of it is that, especially with, you know, I think a lot of us have gotten a wake up call with, you know, recent events going on, especially with Charlie Kirk, and I think a
hmm
lot of people are realizing the world needs more Jesus. And so
yeah,
that's why I think that a Christian halftime show could be an
sure,
overall net positive. Even though it's probably not going to be music that I'm into, I could
sure.
see it as being a, you know, a positive influence.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like I touched on it a little bit. I feel like it's just such an important thing for the church to worship together corporately. You know, like
Yeah.
someday, dude, I'm gonna go. You know, when we get to the other side, you know, I'm gonna see maybe some guy that was in a Southern Baptist church that like had to wear a suit and tie, that never bet a dollar in his life, that freaking never drank a lick of beer or smoked tobacco or whatever it is, and he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be shaking my hand and he says, "Well done. I'm proud of you, son." And
Yeah.
I'm going to be saying the same thing, you know, or like, you know, maybe there's going to be like, that's one thing that I love about being able to travel or see the world. You know, you get to see the face of God in different countries, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for that. And, you know, I went to Fiji recently, and like we went to a school, and I was super surprised when the school did the songs for us, like the thing that they did. They
Mm-hmm.
sang worship songs. This little girl did At the Cross and did a solo, and I'm like in tears, dude. Like, I've never been to Fiji in
Oh,
my life. I'm not gonna expect that this is the song that they're, you know, doing, you know. And I
yeah.
think we need that. We need the world to know
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. We need the world to know this is their only reason why we're doing what we're doing, because otherwise it'd be futile. Like, I would listen to the heck out of all these bands, you know, or I would do whatever it wants, but like I need to remove myself from my situation in my own life, you know, or my own self, because I don't got my crap together, you know. Like, I need to spend time in worship, more importantly corporate worship, because I need to be vulnerable in myself too, you know, like, and it's because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it all together, you know, and I'm going to spend time with the Lord the best I know how, even though it is really hard for me, like I said. But like, I feel like it would be such a rain of, you know, a beautiful thing on this nation, that we need this. You know, we need time to worship together as a church because of,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, like of Charlie Kirk. You know, that's devastating. You know, like I still reeling from that. You know, just knowing that
Sure.
faithful men that live their life full. And am I doing that too? You know, am I
Mm-hmm.
I challenge just myself, you know, of like, not, I don't, and I'm getting a nuance really quick. I don't want to ever say I am Charlie Kirk, because I'm not. I'm Steven,
Mm.
you know, just a small town kid, you know, like I'm living in Carlsbad, California. And I'm Steven that's just doing my best as a barista by day, and be a great husband all day, and love my dog, and love my church family and my neighborhood and my community around me. That's all I want to do, you know, and
Right.
live a kind and quiet life. But
Mm-hmm.
back to it, like, without rambling too long. We need a time in corporate worship. We need that time for as a church to be able to stand. hand in hand together to show the world, like, we're not joking around about this thing. This
Right.
isn't just like something that you see some outlandish dude that he says he's a Christian and he's like, just, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to rant about specific figures, but I'm sure we can think of some off the top of our heads that are just
Oh,
really
sure.
just absolute bozos, just
Sure.
absolute, just dummies that just make me so mad that just is like, dude, like, you are so dumb
Mm-hmm.
for real. Like, but like for some reason, like it is also reminds me of God saying, like how Paul talks about, he's like, whether false motives are true, the gospel is preached, and for that I give thanks in Philippians, and
Right.
dude, I don't know. And I mean, I hope that all made sense too. But
No, yeah, absolutely. I think we're pretty much of same mind about that. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. There hasn't really been, other than like Turning Point USA's announcement about it, which again, don't know if that's going to be strictly Christian. I heard something about them trying to get Creed on the show. Don't know if that's going to happen or not.
I honestly, I would love to have Creed on a halftime show.
Okay, I need to make a little bit of a statement on here. There's been this rewriting of history going on around here, especially amongst conservatives, and I'm just going to say I'm not going to stand for this. You're welcome to have your own opinion about it, and that's fine, but there's been this movement of people going like, oh, you know what, bands like Creed and Nickelback and such, they're actually not bad, and I will not stand by this.
Yeah, dude.
Still,
Fake news for sure, for sure. Like, you've
I
so many
still
people
do not
dogged
like
on
Creed or
Creed.
Nickelback.
Oh,
Not my thing at all. I mean, if you like them, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. That whole genre of rock is just not my thing. No, I don't.
my
And it's even
sorry.
if I'm conservative, I'm not gonna stand by this. But yeah,
Well, I
sorry.
mean,
Go ahead.
my sweet grandma got me actually in my own prison, and I wasn't, like I told you, I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. And my
Yeah,
parents had to like okay it because like it was pretty Christian music and stuff. But like Creed was that gateway. But
there
like
you go.
I'm so with you. Is like I hate that people are like, oh, Creed is great. And I'm like, dude, you dogged on Creed my whole life. And then when you start seeing the Texas Rangers doing like using Creed and they get famous again, and then like, bro,
Yeah.
like I'm grateful for them. I'm glad they're touring as a band together for some reason. Cause like I followed all the drama when the band broke up. Scott Stapp went CCM, came out with two
Mm-hmm.
CCM albums, and then he just did like another album, I guess, recently and stuff. But like he
Mm.
played for like the Passion of Christ, like the movie soundtrack of like the songs inspired by the movie, like so did MXPX and Mark Hoppus for that matter. But
Right.
like I feel like I hate that. Like I hate when people try to do that. But I will always hate Nickelback. One, because they're also Canadian. Two, it's like, dude, like, like I heard this was a rumor. If you listen to Nickelback backwards, it's actually satanic music. But if you listen to it
Oh,
forward,
without a
it's
doubt.
just as bad. It's Nickelback. It's actually Nickelback.
It's still satanic. It's
It's
Canadian,
it,
therefore
it,
it's
it's,
satanic.
it's satanic for sure. Because I love my friend Canadian friend Tony. That's probably about it. And Strange Brew and Shorzy and gosh, what's the real show? I don't know, but there's a few
Red Green
Canadians I like. That's
Show's
it.
Canadian, and that's great. Red Green Show is awesome, and
Strange Brew is fantastic, by the way, too.
I don't even know what
And
that is.
Strange Brew, Rick Moranis from Honey I Shrunk the Kids was in this with show with
Oh,
Dave Thomas and became kind of like a movie, but it was like they're kind of like SNL and it kind of was a movie. It's loosely based off of Shakespeare, but it's terrible and
gotcha.
stupid and it's wonderful though. You would probably absolutely love it. It's really great
Okay.
though.
Oh, also, Trailer Park Boys. They're Canadian. That's a
Nice.
good show.
Gosh, why am I
Um,
not remembering the real one that I want to do? But it's probably not just like appropriate for reviewers, so we should probably
it's okay.
keep
I
on that,
mean,
keep on
Trailer
target.
Park Boys is not really appropriate, but I don't care. Um, what was I? What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to add that Tyson Matzenbacher has been the only person to
Mm,
make me feel like that photograph is a good song, because he did his own cover of it, but like in a different. He did his own thing to it, made it more chill, and it's like, you know what, this is good. So I would recommend checking out Tyson Matzenbacher's cover of Photograph.
But I feel like Christians should just listen to Tyson Mossenbacher, period, in general. Like that guy like writes really good, honest Christian music. And
Oh
like
yeah,
I
he's
haven't
one of
listened
my
to his new
favorites.
album. Yeah, he's so good, dude. So good. Yeah,
I
huge
have
shout out to that
his
guy.
I have his book that I haven't read yet, Where the
He has
Waves
a
Turn
book
Back.
out?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's about his whole like kind of like grieving journey, like when his mother passed, and he went on like a whole trek across the coast of California. That's what his album Letters to Lost Loves was about, and so that's
No.
what the book is
Oh
about.
wow. Well,
Yeah,
I might have to Amazon Prime that tonight. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I still gotta read it. I have so many books I gotta read. But anyways, I wanted to switch it. This we're talking about the same thing, but like bring it to more of a lighthearted conversation. Stephen, if there were to be a CCM halftime show in your ideal world, what would it look like?
man, CCM.
And I say CCM, that can include like independent Christian artists that we've
Yeah,
talked
no,
about. So
no, dude, I mean, I would love to see Five Iron Frenzy and see. I mean, shout out. I know Caleb would love this idea too, but I would love to
oh
see
yeah.
Five Iron Frenzy like be like the band that everybody's waiting for because I feel like ska needs its day again. Like if things happen in cycles, ska hasn't made its cycle back, and I feel like that'd be fun. But also, I feel
Mm,
like Reese Roper just has some really brilliant things to say, and I feel like it would be really cool to hear him.
sure.
I I wish also, I mean, this is gonna be like, I mean, MXPX is not CCM anymore, and they were for just a little while, but like I would love to see
Mm.
some like real pop punk on the stage, and I feel like that'd be really cool
Sure, yeah.
for
And if they
MXPX.
did their old stuff, then yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
dude. I'm trying to think, dude. Hmm.
I think what would make the CCM world go crazy, and I know it's a touchy subject given,
Sure.
news of the past year, and we don't know how involved the rest of the band is, but assuming that the rest of the band is clear, if the Newsboys got back
Oh,
together with Peter Furler and Phil Joel also as well, I think that would do crazy numbers. Not that Christian music is all about the numbers, but I would be happy because in my heart of hearts, I mean, people know I'm a big classic Newsboys fan, and so that would make my heart happy. But then
do you want to hear
again,
something
sure, yeah.
embarrassing? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Sometimes
No,
I get
you're good. I think
excited. I
there's a bit
get
of
above it.
a bit of a delay, so it's all good.
But I also, I know I tend to interrupt and I don't mean to just because I get excited and my impulse control is just so
You're
hard to
good. You're good.
harness. My very first concert ever was actually seeing the Newsboys and their Step Up to the Microphone tour when I was in eighth
Ah,
grade.
lucky.
And
Nice.
I wore overalls to that show because I thought I was really cool. I wore
Mm-hmm.
overalls and they were with Third Day, The Calling. I think there was, or
Nice.
The Waiting, not The Calling. The Waiting?
Oh, the waiting sounds right. Yeah.
The Waiting. The Calling is this non-Christian band. They're really good because they have that album called like El Camino or something like that, or Pumley. I don't know. I'm trying to think. There was one other band there, but it was pretty cool. But I
Wasn't
honestly
the
like
Supertones a part of the Step Up to the Microphone tour?
maybe
No, I'm
not where
thinking.
I was in California. I saw them in Bakersfield, dude. It was pretty
Okay.
bad. It was pretty bad. Don't go to Bakersfield ever, please.
Okay.
But
Duly noted.
geez. But yeah, I remember I did not really like that like Step Up to the Microphone album growing up. I really liked Going
Mm.
Public a lot more. But I
Mm.
do love I have some really fond memories of that what's it called? Whatever's the one with breakfast on it and like
Take me to
that's
your leader.
oh dude, yeah. Dude, I could geek
Yeah.
out about that album probably still.
That
I
album.
haven't
That is actually my favorite album of all time. Like just
wow,
in
that's
general.
special, dude. That's
It
awesome.
is. Yeah.
Man.
I mean,
Newsboys getting back
people know
together. I
I.
wasn't expecting that, but that's yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's been very disheartening with all the recent news and everything, and that's the thing we don't, and we did like a whole episode about this, and we don't know how compliant the rest of the band is. Still to hear more about that. But if it's the case that, those members, Duncan Phillips, Jeff Frankenstein, and Jody Davis didn't really have anything to do with it, then yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I think Peter Furler already kind of has his own band with his solo stuff. So if it was just them and Phil Joel that got together, maybe even Steve Taylor. Yeah, that would be really cool if they all just
I
kind of
mean, if you
collaborated together.
actually did this, dude, I mean, like, obviously we can't get what's his name, the lead singer that was of Audio Adrenaline, but like, can you imagine if
Yeah.
it was like, say, like in the like late '90s, like, dude, Audio A,
Oh my
freaking DC
gosh.
Talk, and like, even though DC Talk is probably one of the most overrated CCM artists to date, but I will not argue about this right now because that would be
Hot
too long for me to
take.
discuss. But yeah, dude, I feel like super overrated. I'll be Eugene. I'll be Flynn Rider with all those swords around his neck, and I will defend that with my life, and I will not come out. I will come out unscathed. I promise. I will hopefully convince you. But like, even I would want that. That'd be fun. Like, DC Talk, Audio Adrenaline, Newsboys, be all on the
well,
same
well,
stage
they
together for
were,
a Super Bowl halftime.
yeah,
That'd be
and they
cool.
were kind of like the holy trinity of like '90s music. They were almost kind of like friendly competitors with each other, with who was like the bigger CCM band.
Artists,
But
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, honestly, like, and years later, they kept on trading each other's band members and lead singers. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, totally. I think that Audio Adrenaline, like OG Audio Adrenaline, their sound would be like perfect for like a
I feel
halftime
it.
show.
Yeah, and I feel like OG Audio Adrenaline too, man. Like, it's just good. I just feel like so many bands, what happened is, I don't know what it was, and I blame Sonic Flood for a lot of it, but like, I really feel like in 2000, 2001, bands just switched and became
Hmm.
commercial. And I feel
Yeah,
like in the
more about worship
90s,
too.
yeah, and like, and God bless worship. I really wanted to just support that kind of ministry and scene or music, and
I love it. I love it.
I
It's
love
great.
it. I love it. It's so wonderful. But I feel like bands from the late '90s to like right around 2000, 2001, there was something unique and special that bands were just doing their own thing to just be different in the
Yeah,
CCM scene. And like, I mean, even like POD in the very beginning, POD doesn't fit that genre really well, but like they did
right.
something, and like Set Your Eyes to Zion was like a reggae song that was on every Christian radio station, like,
Yeah.
um, gosh, I wish I could have heard more responsibility on like, secular stations, but like, Ryan K talking about Marilyn Manson. Like, I
Right.
feel like bands were willing to take risks at that time. Okay, so
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I would love to see Reliant K, MXPX, and 500 Frenzy freaking crush out a show. That would be
Oh
probably my
yeah.
top three right there. That'd be good.
That feels like a tour that would have happened at some point. So
Well,
yeah,
I
totally.
missed my senior year or 2005 that Reliant K toured with MXPX, and they called it Panic with a K tour. And I'm really gutted I missed that
Hmm.
tour because that would have been really fun. But
Yeah. I still have yet to see Reliant K live. Uh,
someone
I've
said
missed every chance that I've gotten.
some at Universal Studios or Night of Joy when I was stationed in Florida with my youth group kids, and it was freaking fun, and I really enjoyed
I'm
it. But then I
sure.
kind of like lost my love for Reliant K, and then when Forget and Not Slow Down came out, uh that's the album's name, I think. Sorry, I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
It's getting a
Hmm.
little, I absolutely love that album. And then like, I mean, obviously, was great, and then that came out, was so good, and then I freaking love Air for Free. That's my favorite album from Reliant K. But
Really? See,
yeah.
I've heard a lot of defenders for that album, and I guess I need to give it another chance. Like, there's a lot of songs that I like on it, but my problem is that I felt like it was too long, like it could have been cut down a little bit. But I need to go
if
back
you
to it.
if you listen to it, look at the way that they because I didn't know this until John told me actually, but on the vinyl they restructure the album differently than they do on the actual CD album. And if you listen to it that way,
Ah,
it makes it a lot more unique. And I feel like I like it even more because of the way it's restructured on vinyl than it is on the CD album.
okay. I'll have to give that a shot. I actually have the vinyl, but I haven't pulled it out in a while. So,
Well, so good,
um,
man.
yeah.
But I mean,
Forget
like,
and
they're
Not
just so
Slow Down
good.
is my personal favorite
I
from
mean,
them.
that's a It's a freaking fantastic album. I mean, songs
Yeah.
with what's his name from Classic Crime, so good. Gosh, they're just so good.
Yeah, that whole song with like all, it's just like a basically a who's who of alternative Christian rock. You got the guy from Classic Crime, House of Heroes, Aaron
That would
Gillespie.
be, dude. House of Heroes would be another great band to have at a freaking halftime show for a CCM
That would
halftime show.
be,
Oh gosh,
yeah,
if
that
they
would be fun.
play like what's it called, the ones to the middle class or whatever that song. Oh gosh,
Love Us
the
for the Middle
const
Class, yeah.
dude, that'd be such a good song to play for a freaking halftime show. That would resonate with everyone. You know, that would be so good.
I mean, and everyone would go crazy with In the Valley of the Dying Sun, because
Oh,
that's their biggest, right? Is that their most streamed one?
you'd have to check. I'm really bad at like looking at numbers that are streamed online. I
I just
just
feel
listen to
like,
music.
yeah. Oh
The
no, I
constant
guess no, it's not. It's in their top five. I guess If is their most streamed song. So
Wild. The Constant's my favorite song from them because it's also a nice loss reference, but that's another tangent that I will not go on.
yeah, another episode.
Another episode. You didn't know these
Cool.
favors were stacking up against you there, did you, Clifford?
No, I love it. I love the favorites as well. Yeah, so Forrest Frank, made headlines again. He seems to be doing that a lot, which I personally love it. But Forrest Frank declined to attend the Dove Awards this past week or two, I guess. And he had a whole video about it basically, and I'll be showing clips of it in the episode. But basically, just talking about how he's felt convicted about it, and just kind of feeling convicted about like how he presents himself, like how like a part of the world he's going to be in, I guess just feeling weird about receiving an award as a Christian.
As Christians, it's hard to know where the line in the sand is between being in the world and not of the world. And as a Christian artist, I dress kind of like the world. I kind of look like the world. My music can kind of sound like the world. So where's the line in the sand drawn? And I'm convicted personally that a line that I can draw is that I will not receive a trophy for something that is from Jesus and for Jesus. And I was wrestling with this last year. I even said that on stage at the Dove Awards. I said, I'm still struggling with the concept of receiving this award, but all glory to Jesus. Every name will fade away, including mine, except for one name. But I feel a conviction to go even a step further and say, I don't know if I even want to step on the stage. I don't know if I want to step in the room. And so I have decided to take a stance of non-participation. I will not be attending the Doves or the Grammys. I hope to be an example to the youth that the trophy is our salvation. The trophy is that my name is listed in the book of life and I get to have eternal life. What good is a piece of metal gonna do compared to that?
And I totally get it. And a lot of people came out in support of him. They commented on the Instagram post. We got Shane and Shane supporting them. I see CC Winans also supported him in this, but he got a little bit of backlash, just a little bit. Some people critiquing him and being like, oh, I don't think it's a bad thing for people to, be recognized for these types of things. And Jelly Roll, who, new CCM artist Jelly Roll, I guess, he's kind of become a thing now. He commented saying, won't receive trophy for something from Jesus for Jesus, but will take the profits from something from Jesus for Jesus. Maybe I'm missing something here, LOL. And a lot of other people came out kind of in the same vein. They're being like, you're charging your $100 for your hoodies or whatever. It seems a little kind of hypocritical. And then Forrest Frank responded to Jelly Roll's comment specifically, basically saying, well, first he was very gracious about it, just being like, I love this question.
So I wasn't gonna respond to this comment because I didn't want to bring any unnecessary drama. I posted my personal conviction. It triggered a lot of people. I had no idea that that was going to happen. But now Fox News has brought it up and People Magazine, so I feel like I'm inclined to speak on it. All I'm gonna say to you, Jelly, is I love this question. This is the question that kept me from making Christian music for so many years, because I didn't want to make a business out of worship music. I didn't want to make a business out of Jesus. And so I actually didn't participate. And then one day I felt like God was telling me to release, I'll call it my quiet time song. And I did. And here's the thing. Legally, it was self-produced and self-written. So legally, that money comes to me. What I do with that money after it legally comes to me, I'm never gonna tell anybody, because your left hand isn't supposed to know from your right hand. I might give 90% of my money away, I might give 10% of my money away, somewhere in between, but y'all are never gonna know that, because that's my relationship with Jesus. But I love this conversation, and I'm willing to be refined in any area. Anyways, I'm just stoked by this comment. This is something that I would love to figure out. And in the meantime, I'm a safe place for you, bro. Whether that's on the phone or on here on social media, I'm for you, bro. God is for you. He has a plan for your life.
And he also did add in the caption that he got on the phone with Jelly Roll and that they were good. So, like, there's no beef between them or anything now. But yeah, and I just and I also wanted to add, I didn't send this to you because I only found out about this last night. But Jeremy Riddle, famous.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know, right? He hasn't been active for a few years, and that's why a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, he's just kind of coming out of nowhere to add to this." He posted a whole 13-minute video on Instagram, basically coming out not just in support of Forrest Frank, but he's also criticizing the Devil Wards. And as someone who is from that world, I'm sure he knows a lot about it. Basically, and I'll share clips of that as well, stating that the Devil Wards, the way that the merits that it chooses to pick its nominations is not Christian, because basically, like, the best song and the best artist, whatever, they're all chosen by how well they do and the number of streams that they get and the sales and such, and that is the merit-based system that they've chosen. And I would highly recommend you guys go to Jeremy Riddle's Instagram account. It's the most recent video, and I would recommend you guys check that out. Basically, just going out on the Devil Wards and such. But
my main issue and contention is with the reward system itself. And I think part of the thing is because I feel like a lot of that other stuff that surrounds the Devil Wards that really is beautiful can mask the underlying root issue of what's wrong with the Devil Wards. And again, my issue and my contention and the case that I'm going to make is with the reward system itself. And I'll just be very blunt and just say I do not believe that the GMA Devil Ward system for awarding people is Christian. And I know that's a strong statement, and I'm going to explain it. Every award show has a set of values, criteria, a set of metrics that they use, and that a committee evaluates when giving an award. So the Grammys have their values or metrics or whatever. I'm not exactly sure about their system. The Oscars have theirs, the Emmys have theirs, and so on and so forth. And the GMA Dev Awards is no different. It has a set of values and metrics that it uses to give people awards. So if we were to use Song of the Year as an example or an illustration, you can research this, by the way. And the reason why I'm not posting this, I can post it later. It's their exact language. And the reason why I'm not posting it is just because it contains a lot of kind of industry insider language that wouldn't be understood by many people who don't understand how the industry works. And if you don't understand entities like CCLI or CBS or Nielsen SoundScan and so on and so forth, you're not really going to be understanding what their award system looks like and why they're giving you an award. But I'm just here to break it down in layman's terms. And it's basically this. Guys, if you receive, for instance, Song of the Year, it's simply because your song was more popular, it was played in more churches, and essentially it's streamed or sold more copies than any of your other brothers and sisters. It is according to sales and popularity. And so when I say things like the GMA Dev Award system isn't Christian, it's just because that's not a Christian value system. That's actually a secular value system.
But yeah, I just think it's an interesting conversation, and we can touch on it as much for as much time as you have. But my first reaction to like the criticisms of it is that I get sick and tired of people basically policing what people are supposed to do with their money. Like I felt kind of the same way when people attacked Elon Musk for buying Twitter. Like, oh, you could have used that money for to go to solve world hunger or whatever. And it's like, what do you know what people are actually using with their money? Like, how do you know that they're already not donating their money to big things? Like, just because they're not making a big statement out of it.
Right.
And so that's the problem with it. But I also get the conviction behind, because like Keith Green, very famously, he decided not to charge anything for his music and for his concerts. It was kind of like, pay whatever you want. And a lot of people are actually comparing Forrest Frank to Keith Green these days because of him declining to go to the Dev Awards. But yeah, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are all on this.
I mean, first of all, to have like a conversation with Jelly Rolls, such a wild thing. Like, I feel like that's one thing that I do love is like you see artists that intersect in different worlds now. Jelly Roll, like being able to speak on Forrest Frank. I would never
Right.
expect that. And I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Jelly Roll fan. I do love a lot of country, wear my country, cowboy boots right now. I do love the idea of, but I love the intersections, like I think of like Papa Roach and him talking very publicly about Jesus now, the lead
Yeah.
singer of Papa Roach, which is
Yeah, I
super
saw
weird
that
to me.
recently. That is really
Yeah,
cool though.
phenomenal. And I feel like there's more of this happening. I mean, it was the big one was, when we saw Brian Welch, Brian Head
Mm-hmm.
Welch, from Korn,
Yeah.
telling everyone that he was a Christian. I feel like that was a big deal. And I think it's an interesting thing that, in different sections of music, you have Christians now that are outspoken Christians and aren't afraid
Mm-hmm.
of that. So like the thing is I love that even that Forrest Frank was able to have a phone call with him. I don't know if guys like Forrest Frank now have publicists or PR reps, or that's a whole world like I don't even
Yeah.
want to know about. But what I would say of watching those videos, dude, this kid looks like a really decent kid. Like it seems like he is trying to be very genuine when he's saying. Like I, for
Yeah.
one, hate really Christianese stuff. I had a hard time with a lot of Christianese growing up just because of purity culture, because of freaking Rob Bell, because of
Oh
Numa
yeah.
videos and how Kiss Dating Goodbye. And I feel like I was paralyzed a lot in my Christian journey because of a lot of these nerds. And like I
Sorry, just
I
your
fe-
word, your use of
no,
the word
sorry.
nerd. You sound
No,
like a
kids
high
are
school bully. Like, oh, these
they're a bunch
nerds.
of dirt. Yeah, but they're dorks though, dude. Like real talk. Like I don't know.
I
I
like
guess that's
this.
another whole conversation too. But like
Oh yeah.
I feel like what's so sweet though is like I do think it didn't feel like Christianese to me. At least, I mean, I feel like I don't know if
It
it's
feels
just
very
my gift.
heartfelt and genuine for sure. Yeah. Like I don't
Yeah,
think he's being fake.
no, and I feel like a guy that says, like, and it's such a hard thing to say, like a straight scripture of saying you don't want to know what your right hand from your left hand is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not like a scripture I'm pulling out of my back pocket when I'm having a bad day at work. Or that's
Sure.
not something that I think about maybe sometimes when I'm pulling out money in my account and it's like, okay, this is how much we have for groceries this week. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, dude, but like that he's genuine. Like I really do believe when he said that comment, like it felt very genuine. And
Yeah.
now it's like very interesting to me that a guy like Jelly Roll, who, we know that he was a convicted felon, or I don't know too much of his past, but like has had a couple albums and has been putting out some pretty good music that's been impactful for people. Toured with Post
Mm-hmm.
Malone, that he sings that song with Brandon Lake, which I have my own opinions about him too. But
Oh yeah.
I I I feel like it is a great song, a hard fought Hallelujah. I feel like he stole my lyrics a long time ago because I felt like you've got to find a hell in your Hallelujah, but I'm not gonna sue
Oh,
him for that.
interesting.
Like I feel like I wrote something like that a long time ago, but obviously they're not gonna find little me on the interwebs.
They'll never
Then,
admit to it.
dude, I should sue him for squillions of dollars. Just kidding. But I do love that. I do love that song. I do love that it's a real honest reaction of really sometimes I feel like we are in the hells of life and all you can do
Mm,
is like that hard fought hallelujah. So I love that, Jelly Roll, that intersection, back to the intersection again. I think it's really a beautiful thing. And I feel like there needs to be more
hmm.
dialogue about that. And what I wish, and maybe it's because of PR reps, maybe it's because of legal issues, maybe it's because I don't know if Jelly Roll is comfortable doing that or if Forrest Frank doesn't want to do that. I wish there was more dialogue of this in person, like what we're doing right now. I wish there
Yeah.
was more Christian interaction between two men or women or men and women with disagreements or whatever that is. That you can disagree with each other or maybe agree with each other or maybe come to a mutual understanding saying, I love you, bro. Good on what you're doing. Proud of you. Keep crushing those country music awards. Good on you, Forrest Frank, for not showing up at the Dove Awards or the Grammys because it doesn't mean anything to you. Proud of you
Which
too, bro.
I think that could happen because something kind of similar to that already happened. Speaking of which, Forrest Frank and Corey Asbury showed up on Ruslan's YouTube channel,
Oh, cool.
and it was like a 2 hour conversation. And not to say that they had any disagreements, but there was that recent weird thing that happened where like Forrest Frank made the song about him breaking his back, and then Corey Asbury and a few other Christian artists like did parodies of that, and it was a whole weird like quote unquote beef. And
Mm.
I'm gonna stand by this. It was weird. Okay, it was kind of cringe. So I don't care who disagrees with me about that, but it was really interesting to have them on on Ruslan's show, um, and just just shooting the breeze and just talking about a whole bunch of stuff that included Christian music and all that. So I think something like that can happen. I like that idea. So we'll just have to get a hold of Ruslan and try to get Forrest Frank back to the studio and get
Yeah,
Jelly
I'll just
Roll
call him like
to.
you call it Jelly Roll, like, hey, bro,
Yeah,
I just need to send him a DM or something like that, just saying, hey,
yeah,
you know,
it could
but
happen.
like, I just feel like more things like that need to happen. I just feel like discussion and discourse need to happen more. This is why I do love Twitter and like as much as I know politics invade every single day of my life, whether it's something I see, whether it's something that I disagree with, or something I do agree with, or something that policy that I see enacted, or whatever that is, like I want to
Mm,
discuss those things with people that I don't even agree with. Like I work at the craziest, most progressive, probably company in the United States right
sure.
now.
In
Like
California.
and in California, California, sorry, where we literally
Freudian
have
slip.
the biggest, and I'll say it again, the biggest dork of all the governors in the history of ever that is running our state. Um, and
I
but
agree.
like I love my state. I love
Hmm.
how much it has to offer me, and I love where I work because there's so many people with different backgrounds and different beliefs and different things that allow me to see a different side of the Lord, of why he continues to chase and reach out for the lost.
Hmm.
Because I was once in that position too. I was that kid that wanted to sit down during worship, that was wearing girl jeans, that was dyeing my hair black, that was wearing band t-shirts, that wanted to paint my nails black, that like all these different things. And the Lord found me and sought me and says, I want you. And
Hmm.
I feel like there's an ability to have these discourses with people that we don't agree with, and we've forgotten that. And I don't know what that is, if that's the media pushing the agenda of the left and the right, and there's no in between, or if there's no nuance, because then it looks like you stand for nothing, which I think is a bunch of BS in itself. But where like that you could be conservative or you could be liberal, and like there's all these things, and it's just like, dude, let's just talk to each other, like let's
Yeah.
see dialogue happen. And I feel like it's so imperative. It's gonna sound weird saying this out loud, but I mean it. What makes America great, really great, is that we are able to shake our hands with our neighbors.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, what makes America great is being able to like just walk down the street with somebody that you have zero idea of their background, and just being able to just hang with them and just hear their story.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Absolutely.
and so for guys like me, like wanting to hear Jelly Roll talk, I don't know his background. I don't know his story. I don't know much of Forrest Frank's story. I love like a lot of music. Listening to his music is kind of fun. Wish his tracks
Mhm.
were so short. But like I like a lot of Jelly Roll stuff because I feel like they're really honest songs and they're good kind of country music, and it's not just dirt roads and beer cans and beaches and
Yeah.
I don't know. But I feel like I want to see these dialogues. Like we need to do more of these things, and I just think it's imperative, So I don't know if that's too long of a segment on what you were saying about that, but like I wish, and I wish maybe Forrest Frank would go there and declare the
Yeah.
name of Jesus, and like being able to do that at the Grammys, that maybe would freaking shut him out for saying the name of Jesus. But I mean, dude, God forbid. I
Mhm.
mean, like you've talked about in different award shows of like, Epstein's Island, or you've talked about things of where what's his name? Ricky Gervais is like freaking slams celebrities in a half shell, which is like one of my absolute favorite
It's
takedowns
it's
of
so
Hollywood
good.
I've ever seen in my life. But
So
like
good.
so good. I could watch it on repeat, and just seeing the cringes from Tom Hanks just makes me so happy
It's-
inside. Yeah. Like what? Um, but I
yeah.
want, like why not? Like, and you do have artists that are, actors and actresses that say, I thank God for this award, like he's the one who did it. But is he genuine or not? But like some people just don't even bat an eye about it. But
Mhm.
what if Forrest Frank literally just got up there and said, Jesus, I thank you for this award, because this award means nothing to me. The true reward is heaven. And he preached the gospel. And how many people, if you're still watching the Grammys, like I'm not, but if you're watching the Grammys, like, and somebody
Mhm.
is bold enough to preach the gospel in a world that desperately needs Jesus these days, dude, what a win. What a win in
Yeah.
itself, win
Yeah.
souls to heaven,
I think
dude.
the
Like,
Grammys. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off,
you didn't.
but
No, I was just continually just,
I I
what a
I
win,
just think
dude.
that the
Like,
that would I think the Grammys would be different because like the Grammys is a secular institution. So maybe if he did have the chance, I think he actually is Grammy nominated. I'm not sure, but if he did have the chance to like speak on the like on stage at the Grammys, I think he would take that opportunity. The Dove Awards I feel like is a little different because like you proclaim the gospel at the Dove Awards, you're basically preaching to the choir at that point, and so you still just get that weird feeling of accepting an award at a Christian award show, with not really the opportunity to really preach the gospel. Which I mean, it is a Christian music industry. There's probably people who aren't actually Christians in that group,
but I
but
had zero idea that Dove Awards were even happening still. I just remember hearing that about that when I was like listening to, K Dove or K Love or K
oh
something,
yeah,
whatever, when I
they're
was growing up.
definitely still happening. And I even did a video where I was watching the Dove Awards, and so I was just kind of getting my reactions, and it was fun because it was really hard to get through. But so they're still happening, but I always forget that they're happening. Like they go by and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I missed that. So they're still happening for some reason, and I think a lot of the criticisms, like from Jeremy Riddle and everything, I think that's pretty valid, especially since the Dove Awards are hosted by TBN, and I have my own personal opinions about TBN since they
Same.
they platform a lot of dare I say heretical teachers on there, and
Sure.
so I think TBN is a little sus, and so it doesn't surprise me a lot of the comments that Jeremy is saying about it. I mean, I know Forrest Frank probably wasn't aware of all these things. He's just kind of following his own convictions.
Sure.
Uh, but I am thankful that Jeremy is taking this opportunity to talk about it. Um, I think something's happening within CCM, especially since all this Michael Tate stuff, that the there's like a burning of the chaff that's kind of starting to happen,
Mm.
and people like Forrest Frank and Corey Asbury and such are speaking out about a lot of these things. So I think it's a good thing. there's a whole bunch of aspects to this conversation. The whole Jelly Roll thing, the whole accepting awards, and also just the fact that the Dove Awards probably is not an actual Christian institution. It's crazy. That's why I thought that it'd be interesting to talk about. But
Yeah, and I feel
um,
like, dude, like, but I don't know, man. Like, when like, I'm not gonna try to do this to toot my own horn, but like, I remember like a couple. I've been working for. I maybe I've said the name of the company. I don't want to talk too much about it out loud, just because like I don't want to
sure,
have any
don't want
reason
to
to
get
get
you
fired.
canceled.
But for any, yeah, well, you could cancel me. I'm uncancelable. I'm like, what's his name? Gosh, what's his name? I can't. I'm tired. I don't care
You're
if
good.
you cancel me if you want, dude. Unfollow me if you want to, because I just don't care. But I have worked for the same company for almost 6 years now. That's 2 years longer than I've worked in the military.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my most special moments was last year. I never ever got partner of the quarter at my job. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been okay with that. Like, I know that my work and what I've done with the communities and my neighbors, or doing coffee with the cop events to kind of build a better bridge for our communities, to be able to love communities that felt like they're on the fringe, to people that don't feel seen or praying with my Christian partners or whatever that is. I know I've been doing God's work. And it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
until last year when I finally won partner of the quarter, and I cried when I got it. There was something beautiful about that, because it wasn't something I was praying that I wanted. I wish I could have got it, because I am a words of affirmation person. That's one of my gifts. Like words,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And sometimes I hate that I don't get that. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Lord, like, I'm just going to run through it. I know what I'm doing is for you. And I won that award. And I feel like there's that duality. If Forrest Frank doesn't want to do it, because it is like, for maybe him, like, it is probably maybe showcasing his name more than its actual gift. Good on him. But
Mm-hmm.
for maybe somebody else, what if it is for Jeremy Riddle? Maybe Jeremy Riddle is a little bitter that he never got an award that he needed to for his famous song. Like, who knows? Like,
I doubt it though. Jeremy Riddle's done very well for himself.
yeah,
I wouldn't
I
doubt
don't
that
I
he's
don't
got it.
really know much about his life, but I'm just saying, like,
I
hypothetically,
get what you're
like,
saying though.
maybe,
Yeah.
like, in that way of like, what if it's like somebody that wanted that, and that they
Yeah.
desperately needed that, and because they were
Mm-hmm.
doing that, and who knows how that could have helped them for the next day on, or
Sure.
whatnot, because looking back, like, I don't need to have that award again. Sure, it'd be great,
Right. Right.
like, sure, it'd be great to kill another succulent, because I'm terrible at remembering, water my plants, but like, I love my little plaque I have for it, because it's a
Yeah.
blessing to remember that my 5-year team that I had really loved me, and they recognized me in that way, and
Yeah.
who knows, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is
And
a too.
no, totally. And I think that's a great point. And I think it's also important because a lot of people were getting upset with Forrest Frank's take. In the same way that people got upset with Keith Green when he kind of made this, standard for himself not to sell his music. But the thing is that like, this is his own personal conviction. He made it clear in his video where he was like, yeah, personally, this is my conviction. That doesn't mean that that should be the standard for everyone else. I personally think that he's setting a good example, but
Sure.
that doesn't mean that like what he is convicted about, it should be the same for others.
Sure.
And I agree with you. I think it is good to have like awards can be milestones for you,
Yeah.
and they also can be great opportunities to glorify God. So I think it's
100%.
just it really just depends on where you're at, what your convictions are. So yeah, I don't know, not much more to say right there
No.
for me.
Yeah. No. Solid, dude.
Cool. All right, well, dude, this has been awesome. I don't want to keep you any longer, so I want you to get back to your wife and your
Appreciate you.
pit bull.
She's the best. Winnie, named after Winnie Cooper from The Wonder Years, which my wife was
Oh,
not
so
happy. Was not happy when she found out that I named her after my first TV crush. But it's good.
my first thought was Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, that's what
But
she thought too, and it was really great. And until I was like, no, it's Winnie Cooper from The Wonder Years, and she's like, who's that? I'm like, Okay, I know I'm 5.5 years older than you. I know this is going to be a little hard, but this elder emo is going to show you some lore, as these, Gen Z kids like to say. So I'm going to show you.
She can just that can just be her lore in her head that it's
Yeah,
Winnie the
it's
Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh,
Either
So
way,
yeah,
it's Winnie the dog now, so it doesn't really matter.
Winnie the Fur Missile, Winnie the Menace. It's actually Winifred when she's not obeying at all. It's Winifred.
Gotcha. Oh, that's
It's our
when
favorite.
you're upset with her. That's her.
It's
It's like the
Winifred.
full name treatment.
Winifred Magnolia.
That's awesome. But hey, man,
Yeah.
I'm glad that we got to do this. I want to do this again for sure,
Sure.
and I'm sure
Whenever
there's
you
a
want,
whole
dude.
bunch of stuff that we can talk about for hours, as we've already
Sure.
discovered.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for being a great internet friend, and I hope that maybe someday I'll finally go out to California. I'll visit you. I'll visit Benjamin, Daniel, and those are my
Yeah,
only two
dude.
friends
We're
that I
supposed
have
to.
out in California.
Well, I mean, West Coast, best coast, dude. And I'm supposed to hang out with Benjamin and Daniel. We've been texting a little bit and just,
That's awesome.
gosh, I just see another musician, dude. Like, what?
Great guy.
So yeah, dude. He's just such a
Yeah.
swell dude. He just like literally texted me the other day. He's like, "How can I pray for you?" I'm like, "Who are you right now?" Like, what a good friend. Like, I like some of my boys don't even text me that when I'm out here, But like, maybe I should be doing that to them too. But like,
Same.
I love that, and.
Yeah,
Man, but yeah, come out here, dude. And I live in
for
the best
sure.
part of California. He's in Santa Clarita. You can go to Six Flags, but then you just zip down here after like an hour and a half drive, and literally the best beaches, best food, the best weather. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, you could stay at my apartment. Honestly, you don't have to pay for rent or, living or anything like that. You can cuddle with my dog if you need a friend, but like, you don't have to. Dude, you're always welcome
Oh
here
no, I'm
too.
a dog person, so yeah, I
Good.
wanna cuddle. So
Well, cats deserve to be in hell, but that's a whole nother, like, YouTube thing we could talk about too. So.
except for the cats that act more like dogs, they're okay, in my opinion. But
I need to meet one, and then you can change my mind. Until then,
I've met some. There's some cool cats out there, but I'm just an animal lover in general. But yeah, I'm more of a
sure,
dog
I do
person.
love animals. I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
See, that's
cool.
probably what's going to get me canceled. Is probably the cats for sure.
Oh no,
So,
yeah, that's the one part that gets clipped out of the
It's-
episode. Like,
yeah,
the
dude. He's like,
random
"What do you
guy
say right there?" And
Steven.
he's like, "Yeah, he's gonna play it out loud and show me a short video. Cats deserve to be in hell." Shoot, dude. There
Let's
it is.
find where he works.
There he
It's
goes.
like Antifa just comes after you.
Yeah, dude. Freaking cats. Probably the furries will come after me for sure. And maybe they'll show
Oh
up in their
yeah.
banana suits or something like that. Got me there, man. Guys are super hard, man. Oh man, this is gonna go
Shaking
on a
in my
tangent that we
boots.
probably don't want to go into right now.
Oh, we're just having fun, anyways.
Yeah,
Cool,
super
awesome.
fun.
Well, I guess I'll see you again soon on Monday for our
Yeah, dude.
album anniversary episode that we're doing. I'm super
Yeah,
excited
dude. That
about
one's gonna be
that.
really fun.
So keep an
Really
eye out for
fun.
that for sure.
Yeah, look out for that for sure.
All right, everybody, give it up for Steven. I wish I had an applause sound effect ready. I don't. Maybe if I'm not lazy, I'll edit one of them. But I decided to do the rest of the show. Still got my humble opinion to do. Steven being on the show was a very last minute thing, and I wasn't going to make him do a whole bunch of research before getting on the show. So that's okay. I just had a couple albums to talk about for my humble opinion. But yeah, thank you so much to Steven. It was a joy to have him on. I guess I just realized I didn't ask if there's anything to shout out for him. I mean, you can follow him on Twitter. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and shout him out on Twitter. You can follow him at Stephen V Strex. You can follow him if you're out on X. But yeah, so all right. Got my humble opinion. We're just talking about 2 albums today because one of those albums was really, really long. And that's not, a diss against it or anything, but just to have more time to listen to other things, I only picked 2 albums to talk about. And one of them it's a very big one that everyone's talking about. It's the new album from John Van Deusen. And we're also going to be talking about the debut album from hip-hop artist Connor Price, his album About Time. So going to start with John Van Dusen's new album, As Long As I Am in the Tent of This Body, I Will Make a Joyful Noise, Part 1. Probably in the running for one of the longest titles ever, but hey, long album titles are, John Van Dusen is no stranger to them. So, with As Long As I Am in the Tent of This Body, I Will Make a Joyful Noise, Part 1, or in short, ALAITTOTBIWMAJNP1, which that probably took me longer to say that than the actual title. But with this album, John, I think, solves two problems with Christian music. One problem with one side of Christian music, mostly within mainstream Christian music, is that while this side has no problem wearing their faith on their sleeve in their lyricism and making it clear how much they love Jesus, there's no art and mystery in what they produce. It's something I've complained about a lot on this channel. We even touched on it in my conversation with Steven. But everything sounds boring, cliche, shallow, and it all sounds the same. On the other hand, mostly within the underground independent Christian music, a lot of the music that we promote on here, we get a little too focused on the artistry of our music and our poetic lyrics, that to the point where I feel like we become allergic to making bold proclamations of our faith. And even when we do, it more often than not comes out in expressions of doubt and questions, which aren't bad in themselves at all. I'm not discouraging all that by any means, but it does kind of get to the point where, when you have a little too much of that, of like the doubts and the questions and such that we definitely all go through, when all that's in Christian music, it can be kind of a bummer for believers like me sometimes who need more encouragement like that. Now, John Van Dusen's new album, I think, perfectly balances between being an album of bold proclamations of faith and his adoration for his God, while also being an album just bursting with creativity, with sounds ranging from folk to classical and to rock. It's so fun to go from one track that has beautiful orchestral arrangements to tracks with guitars pretty much cranked to 11. It's one of the most perfect examples of genuine worship through sound that I've ever heard. The arrangements feel honest and personal and really feel like it was something John desperately wanted to communicate and get off of his chest. And while the lyrics are heartfelt declarations of devotion and love for God, there are honest phrases of feelings one's own shortcomings. There is no veiled narcissism here. But don't forget that this is a John Van Dusen album. You will find one or two lines in here that will challenge the believer, but all in all, the message is surrender, worship, and fealty to our Heavenly King and Father. It's just a fantastic album. Definitely a big contender for album of the year for me. And that's, I mean, some people may accuse me of being a John Van Dusen shill. But I just want to remind everyone that Anthem Sprinter was near the bottom of my list last year. While I did love it, I didn't think it was great or anything. So this album being number one, and John Van Dusen has not held that place for me yet, but this album could be the one. And I just got to say that even with the singles leading up to this album, they were already just a huge encouragement to me. Jesus of Nazareth is definitely going to be an all-timer for me. That will just stick with me, I'm sure. So yeah, would highly recommend this. And it's a long album, but I don't really feel it ever. It doesn't waste any time. And it's just crazy the fact that this is part one. John definitely had a lot of stuff to get off of his heart. And I'm excited. I'm excited for part two for sure. As long as I am in the tint of this body, I will make a joyful noise. Hallelujah. All right, and with the next album, we've got About Time by Connor Price. And believe it or not, this is the debut, his debut album, because he's mostly just done singles in the past. And he expressed in a post that he just wanted, the album just needed to feel right. He had to make the right kind of songs for it to justify an album. And so and now he's gone and done it. And some people might be thinking, like, why are you talking about Connor Price? He's not a Christian artist. Like, well, for one thing, well, he is a professing Christian. He has made that clear, especially with, one or two songs. His song I Need Help, which I loved that song. And also he was, he featured on one of Forrest Frank's most popular songs yet. So yeah, he's a professing Christian. And here at I'm Clifford Today, we don't just promote the mainstream, mainline Christian artists. I like to find artists who are in more of the secular world but still profess to be Christians. And as long as I can, I examine their life and be like, okay, yeah, I think you're okay, I'm going to do that. So until Connor Price gives me a reason not to, I have no problem talking about his music. So the thing about Connor Price is that he does what a lot of hip-hop fails to do for me, and that's to keep me interested while also getting me to come back and listen again. I like hip-hop, but I'm not huge into it, and Connor Price just kind of scratches that itch that I try to look for in hip-hop. He makes catchy beats that are complemented by a fun flow. He does a great job at being a master wordsmith without ever having to use crude language or profanity, aside from a few, damns and hells or whatever. But yeah, just really fun songs with really fun lyrics, and yeah, his beats are great. And if you're looking for any big proclamations of faith, you're not gonna find it in this album. He does thank God a couple times. And in fact, he does have a line where he refuses to use Jesus as a way to get tickets, which I understand. Pretty much all of the features on this album aren't professing Christians, as far as I can tell. We've got freaking Idris Elba in there, which is crazy. But this isn't really me judging him. It's more me just telling it like it is. If you're not cool with that, then this probably isn't the album for you. I personally, I don't need Connor to be an overtly Christian rapper for me to enjoy him, because there's a handful of secular rappers that I listen to. I just hope he's keeping himself in check and surrounding himself with fellow believers. But if anything, it is really encouraging to hear him rap about the love he has for his wife and for his kid. We need more stuff like that out in the world. More pro-family stuff, especially in hip-hop. So yeah, it's a fun album, and it's good to jam for sure. So Connor Price is one of the few hip-hop artists that I try to pay attention to. So yeah, good job, Connor. It's a pretty fun album.
You should know. Tell them how it is. I don't beat around the bush. Yeah, made it look easy. Wasn't easy as it looks. Nah.
All right, so yeah, that's a shorter, my humble opinion, but like I said, as long as I'm in the tent of this body, that's quite an undertaking. So, yeah. That's all that we have for today. Super fun episode again. Again and again, thank you to Steven for showing up last minute. And yeah, we already teased about this, but there's going to be, I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but me and Steven are appearing on an episode of Album Anniversary podcast, and we're going to be talking about a certain Under Oath album. So when that's out, I'll update you guys. But, you know, if you want, go support the Album Anniversary show, and be on the lookout for that. I mean, I've already appeared on a couple episodes before, so I'm excited to be in on a third time. Also, Podwood Forecast, and yeah, and there was I almost forgot about housekeeping. Man, got so distracted with all the new stuff. I think the last episode only got one comment. And it was a long comment. Gosh dang it, man. YouTube, you need to get your stuff together, because I know that I have comments, and for some reason they're not showing up in my okay, so I don't know why it does this, but it doesn't want to show me certain comments that I know are there. But there was a comment from Isaac Holsworth. Again, he commented on the last episode. Really appreciate it. It is a long comment, so I'm not going to read it all. But, well, first of all, he does open up saying, "I've never been told that I look like Pippin, but I'm definitely not offended. Haha, my hair isn't that long anymore. I need to update my profile pic." Well, yeah, I guess so. But, you know, you're welcome, I guess. But yeah, there's he does comment about the subject of AI music, which we talked about in the last episode, which, by the way, go check out Kingdom Core on Instagram. They just made a really awesome post basically naming a lot of artists that I didn't even mention, I didn't know about in the last episode. He he named a bunch of AI artists, Christian metal bands that people kept recommending to him, and so he just kind of blasted them. And so yeah, go check out Kingdom Core Instagram. But Isaac did leave a TLDR at the end of the comment, so I'll read that. "People are normalizing letting AI run their lives and think and do everything for them. And so in an effort to not support that, I pretty much abstain from all AI. I don't want to support something that enables so much evil that doesn't even touch on the physical/environmental damage done to communities by the data centers themselves. Love the podcast. Keep it up." Well, thanks very much, Isaac. And yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I made the statement in the last episode that I'm not like 100% anti-AI. I mean, I'm willing to let my mind be changed about that. But yeah, I do agree that overall AI is kind of making people it's kind of making people dumber in a way, and making them lazy. So I do believe that even if I'm not 100% anti-AI, I do believe in moderation, if that's at all possible. But we'll see. The thing is that it's here, and it's not going away, unfortunately, unless we just have a major technological shutdown. Like, I kind of almost want Y2K to happen. Not gonna lie. Just turn all of it off. Let's go back to the 1800s. We'll be fine. No, I mean, not even that. Let's just go back to the 1950s. We were pretty comfortable back then. But yeah, and I haven't even done a whole lot of research. I've heard a lot of people talking about the data centers and the harms that they're causing, but I'm not an expert on that. But yeah, thanks, Isaac, for the comment, and thanks for the support on the channel. And hey, if you guys had any thoughts about the things that we talked about in this episode, please leave a comment. I'd love to know your thoughts on Forrest Frank, the Super Bowl. But hey, let's start with that. Who would you want to see at a CCM Super Bowl halftime show? I'd love to hear that. What are your thoughts on the Dove Awards and all that? Forrest Frank, Jeremy Riddle. I'd love to know. What were your thoughts on the albums I talked about? I just want to hear back from you. Just like Steven, I'm a words of affirmation kind of guy, so I love the comments. Please feed my ego. I am not like Forrest Frank. I need my pride to be inflated. Anyways, I'm honestly, I don't know what we're talking about in the next episode. What'll happen. Still trying to get an interview with Kevin. He's been very busy. He's been on tour. So the original, oh, gosh, I think I swallowed something. The original interview I was supposed to have with him got postponed. So, we're working something out. But in the meantime, I love you all. I'll see you in the next episode, whatever that's going to be. And, have a happy Halloween as well. We didn't do a Halloween special this year. I kind of lost track of things. But, hey, what's scarier than the mainstream CCM industry, right? Yeah, anyways. What's scarier, Bad Bunny's lyrics? No. I'm trying to make a joke and it's not working. Anyways, I love you all. Happy Hallows Eve. Happy All Saints Day. Remember, you're a saint too if you believe in Jesus. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
This is Eric from Sower. You should definitely like and subscribe to I'm Clifford today. I've done it. You should do it too. All right.
Thanks.